Hello everyone, this is Kushag. Welcome to our YouTube channel Devtown. If you like the content, do like, share and subscribe to our channel. So you'll be seeing a series of videos required for you to get a good understanding of web development. So our today's topic is HTML forms and input. In the previous video we have talked about the list and tables. We have talked about various types of lists, that is your ordered list and unordered list. We have talked about tables, how to create a table, what is table head and what is table body. If you have not watched my previous video, do watch that. I would be pasting the link in the description as well. So let's start without wasting the time. So let me just create one HTML file, that is your forms.html. Let me just quickly generate the boilerplate code. So I've generated the boilerplate code. Let me just change the title to forms and input. Let me just check whether the live server is running or not. Let me just stop the live server and just open it again. Yeah, till then our live server is starting. Yeah, it started, and as you can see the title is also changed to forms and input. So let me just shift back to the VS Code and let me just give one heading, say as h2 HTML forms. So let me just check. As you can see the heading is already there, HTML form. So let me just start with the form. To design the forms in HTML, the first tag that we'll be using is your form tag. So let me just type form. So whenever I'm typing the form, as you can see there is one already attribute, that is action. So let me just tell you what does action basically means and what we have to type in action. So action is nothing but it's an endpoint where we submit the data of this form. So whatever data we will accept in this form, we will submit in this endpoint. So this endpoint can be your PHP file or your JavaScript file built in Node.js. So let me just quickly type it as my backend.php. So this is the endpoint where I would be submitting the file. So let me just quickly design the first form, that is your name, and your this name has the input of text, say input. So yeah, as you can see its input type would be the text. So let me just ignore this name, or sorry, ID for a time. I will tell you later on what this ID basically means and how to use this ID. So let me just quickly again just give it as name, and let me just type another text box. Say text box should be your name, or it can be your phone number, say phone number. So I've given that, and let me just shift back. As you can see there are two HTML forms which are coming. Say name, I can type anything in this, and let me just type my name, say it is as Kushag, and let me just type my number as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and say 1. So this is the phone number which I have given, but as you can see they both are coming in one single line. So what is the option? Like the first option is there to use the break tag, but this is not the proper option, as I have already informed that using break tag again and again in the HTML is not a good programming practice. So we should avoid the use of break. So how to bring it? So let me just tell you the another option. So the first option is using the break tag. If I'll be using the break tag like this, as you can see, this form will come in the next line, but this is not the good programming practice. So let me just tell you the another way to do it. So what I would be using is I would be using the div tag. So let me just type div, and let me just put it into this, and let me just use the div tag again, and let me just put this also inside this. So as you can see, are both like name and phone number, they both are coming in the different line. but there is a issue of space. They all are sticking together, so I have to just give a space. For that I would be using break, because we can do it with the help of CSS. We can use padding and margin for this. While I would be teaching you CSS, I would be telling you how to give the padding and margin. That is the best programming practice we should use, to give spaces, padding and margin. So for now being, I would be using the break. So let me just quickly give the break tag to give space or your padding or your margin. Just a second. So as you can see, there is some space and my form is looking little bit good. So this is the input type text. In the input type text you can type anything, say @ hash, your dollar, star, percentage sign, anything. So it accepts everything. So let me just quickly shift back to the VS Code. So as you can see, so let me just tell you now the another type. Say let me just copy this. There are few more types in the HTML as well. Say it as email or your number. So let me just quickly tell you email. What is email? Let me just remove this and let me just show you how many types are there. So as you can see, there is input type button, say your date, your email. So let me just quickly check with email. So as you can see, there is an email. So in this you can type your email. So what does this name? Now let me just tell you name as well. So whenever you are submitting your file in the backend, so to access the value of your input, like say name, so I would like to access that the value of the name in my backend file. So we will use accept, or we will take the value of the name using this name value. So whatever we will type in this, by that value we can accept the name value. What is the name? So let me just say my name. So by using the my name we can accept the value of this input name, so in the backend file. So let me just say my phone number. So by using my phone number I can accept the value of the phone number in my backend file. So let me just give it as my email. So this is the email. Let me just show you some other input type as well. So there is date as well. So date, let me just say it as date or date of birth. Let me just change it to my DOB. So as you can see, email, so it's only accepting the email. So I can type anything, email @gmail.com. I can type the name, say it as Kushagra. I can type the phone number, say it as 12345678891, and I can type anything in the DOB. As you can see, it's giving me the option, say 1, say it as 2, or say it as 3. So it's giving me the whole calendar. I can select it, like as you can see I can select the year as well, and I can type whichever year I want to give. So I can do anything. So let me just shift back to the VS Code and let me just show you some other options as well. There is one input type number as well in your HTML. So let me just show you input type, say it as number. So this number can be your, say, bonus. So if you are working in an office and you want to take the bonus, so you can type the number. It won't be accepting any kind of a letter. So as you can see, I'm typing A, B, C, D, E, anything. It's just take E. I will tell you why it takes E, but it won't take any other alphabets. So let me just type 1 2 3 4 5 6. As you can see, it's only taking the number. So why it accepts the E? Suppose if you are having a very big number, say it as 10 crore or any other number in the multiple of tens, so you can type that big number with the power of e, like e to the power say 2 or e to the power 3. I can type like this, say e to the power 3, I can type it like that. So in this way it accepts and you can move ahead. So that's why it accepts e. It doesn't accept any other alphabet apart from e. So let me just tell you some other. There is input type your let me just show you input type submit. So let me just say input type as input, say colon, and say submit. So as you can see, I'm getting the option of submit, submit submit, and I can say it as value should be submit now. As you can see, I'm getting the option of submit now. Let me just remove this submit. As you can see, I'm getting the submit. So my form won't be get submitted if I will type anything, say it as phone number 123456781, and say email, say it as kushagra@gmail.com. Let me just give the DOB, say it as bonus, say as 10,000. And whenever I will submit, I would be getting an error, say cannot get my backend.php, because there is no such file in my folder, say backend.php. So it's giving me an error. So let me just move ahead. And so that's how you can submit your form. So let me just show some more options. So there is one checkbox and your radio button as well. So let me just tell you what is checkbox and radio button. So first of all, I would be telling you what is radio. So for radio, say I would like to have a gender, say gender, and in the gender I would like to say male. And then input type should be your radio, and this is my gender. So that's how you take the input type radio. And for radio, say I am having one more, say it I am giving it as female. So female, and this is also input type radio. And let me just give the one option of other as well. So let me just copy this. Let me just shift back. As you can see, I'm getting in the gender, say male, female, and other. As you can see, I can only select one. Either I can select other, either I can select female, or either I can select male. I can't select two, but with the checkbox you get the option of selecting two or more multiple options you can select. So let me just show you. Say let me just duplicate it and just say it as checkbox. So let me just say it as checkbox, and let me just change it to checkbox. So as you can see, this is how I can select multiple options, say male, female, other. So this checkbox is used whenever you want to take the multiple options from the user, but this gender or like your radio button is used whenever you want to take one options out of the multiple options. So that's how the radio and the checkbox work. So let me just rename this checkbox and say accept accept the terms and condition. And let me just give the radio button, checkbox over here, say input, say it as checkbox. So let me just give the name it as my terms and condition. So let me just check. Yeah, as you can see, it's checked. So I'm getting this option. So let me just close this, let me just check. So whenever you want to do any kind of checkbox or radio button, whenever you want to make, you can use it like that. So now let's say what I would like to do is I would like to have my radio button or your checkbox should be checked. So you can have one attribute as checked, and in this checked attribute you can see whenever I am giving this attribute, this checkbox is already checked before the page is loaded. So after the page is loaded, this button would be already checked. User didn't need to press and check upon this. So whenever I will remove this, as you can see, this radio button is sorry, this checkbox is not checked already, but whenever I am giving this checked attribute, your checkbox is already checked. So this is what checkbox is. Just a second, students, let me just put my power adapter because my laptop is turning out of battery. Yeah, so this is what checkbox basically means. And there is one text area as well, so let me just show you what does text area basically do. Let me just scroll it down and let me just give the PR tag over here, and as you can see I'm getting the BR option now. And let me just show you the text area. So what is text area? Suppose you want to take a large text, say it as address, or you want to take something like about tell me about yourself, like that option. So you would be taking, like, there would be an input such as paragraph or something like that. So how you would be taking that? So HTML has a one great option, that is your text area, which can take an input or a sort of a paragraph or something like that. To do that, we have an, let me just say address, let me just change it and say input type as text area. So as you can see I'm getting the text area. Let me just remove this ID and I would be telling you what does this column and rows basically means. So let me just say it as my address. So as you can see I'm getting this address and I can type my address, say it as flat number 21 in your like Tara Dham colony, say like that. So I can type anything in this. So what does this basically column, yeah, I can, as there is one more thing, I can drag this as well. So as you can see I'm dragging it and the width or height of this is increasing. So column and rows is basically something towards like this width and height as well. So if I will increase this column, say it as to 100, so let me just it as 100. As you can see the column is now 100, so that's how it expands. And if I will say it as rows, so let me just say it as rows as 200. So as you can see it will go down like this. So that's how it works. So this is looking ugly, so let me just shift back to 30 and 10 as well. So yeah, now it's looking fine. And there is one reset button as well. So let me just show you what does reset do. Let me just copy this and say it as reset. So and let me just say it as value should be reset. So I'm getting this reset button. So let me just type the name and let me just type the phone number. Let me just type the email @gmail.com. Let me just give some date of birth, say it as 29th, and let me just type some bonus. And female, my terms and conditions are already checked. Let me just give some address. flat number 21 Taradham Colony, your Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh, and yeah, that's it. So what does this reset button basically do? So whenever I will be clicking on this reset button, my whole form will get reset again. So let me just show you. As you can see, the whole form got reset again. So every value which I have given was reset to its initial value. Their value will become now null, or in case of text or your email, and in case of number, their value will be 0 or something like that. So that's how you can see the reset works. The basic difference between the reset and your submit is whenever you will be clicking on this submit option, the data or the value which you have given for the particular input will be transferred to your backend, but this reset won't transfer. It will just reset and make all the values as null. But submit, it's reset as well as it transfers, but this reset will only reset. It will make every value as null as well, and it will transfer as well, but this reset won't transfer. It will just make it as null. And the next thing that I would like to show you is, let me just fill the form again quickly. Let me just give the email, and let me just give the date of birth. Let me just say bonus. Let me just check it as mail, and let me just type anything in the address. So whenever I am clicking the submit now, as you can see the URL, you can see all the values which I have passed over there are passed in the URL. So as you can see, the name, phone number, my email, whichever I have given, my DOB. So as you can see, all the name value, as you can see in the name, I have given it as my DOB and my address. So as you can see, this is the your variable, and this variable holds the value as Kushagra or as the name and your phone number, like that. So that's how we access the value of these variables in the backend. So these variables are passed in the URL, and in the backend we use these variables to accept the value of these variables. So that's all. Let me just shift back to the browser again, and there is one select as well, like select box. So let me just show you how to create a select box. So to create a select box, you need to use the select tag. So let me just show you how it works. Select, let me just remove this and say it as select. Suppose you are working in a company, and the company has given you the option of like tour, so where you would like to go for a tour. Let's say, let me just type it as tour, and you have to select, say let me type it as my tour, the name, and you have to select out of multiple options. Options can be your say value could be say it as to USA. So let me just give it as USA, and let me just type multiple options. Say it as to South Africa. So here South Africa, and where where it can be, suppose like it's a multinational company, and it's giving the option for the other persons as well, like those who are living in other countries. So let me just type it as India. So for them it's the option as India. So that's how, as you can see, I'm getting tour South Africa or say India. So if you want to tour within the country, then as well you can do, or for other foreigners, they can accept it as India as the option for tour, and they can, for Indians it can be USA or your South Africa. So that's how this select box works. So or drop down menu. So for a particular option to be already selected, there is, like in the case of the check, there is one attribute as selected. So if you will give the selected, this option would be selected. So let me just show it. As you can see, is if I will remove this, let me just remove this, the first option is selected by default, say it as USA. So now I want this, instead of USA it should come as say India. So what I will do, I will type selected over here, and as you can see, instead of USA now it's coming India as the selected option. You don't need to mug up this, just remember, or like just see what I'm doing. I would be telling you in detail about like what is ID and all other things. I would be telling you about this backend file as well, like what this action attributes tells and how to take the values of the variables in the backend file and all other things in detail in the coming video. So don't worry about that. And you don't need to mug up, as I was telling, because these things like checked and selected, where you have to type checked, where you have to type selected, you will get to know whenever you are typing or you're doing the coding practice later on. Like these options are like already known to the programmer. You don't need to mug up. So just focus, and whenever you will practice day by day, you will increase and you will get to know like where we have to type checked and where we have to type selected. So that's how it goes on. And yeah, there is one last thing that I would like to tell you, is that there is one label as well. So let me just show you what is label. So as you can see, I'm giving name like that. So this is the name and this is the input for that name. So this is not the good way to give the label. So for giving a label, there is a particular label tag. So let me just remove this label from here, and let me just give this label, it say name, and this label is for say name. So how this will get, like for what particular input text this name is. So I have to specify the ID should be your unique, and this ID should match with whatever you have given in the for. So as I have written for name, so in the ID it should also be name. So if say if I have given it as say k name, so it should also be a k name. So if this ID and for is not matching, it won't work. So make sure that your ID and for are same. So that's how it goes on. So what is the basic, like what functionality this forms add, or this label tag add? So whenever I am clicking on this name, as you can see, this name already gets selected. So if I am clicking on this phone number, this input type won't be get selected, but whenever I am clicking on this name, say name, as you can see, this name input tag is blinking and I can type anything now. So that's how it works. So yeah, that's all about the day, and that's all about the forms. So we have seen multiple options: input type, radio, your checkbox, and your text areas, drop down menu, submit button, and your number, your date, and your email. So all other things. So that's all. Thank you.